Hello there, and welcome. You're in the right place, right now. It's time to rest your eyes, relax your shoulders, and let your breath slow down. As we drift gently into a quiet journey through time, tonight, we'll travel softly into the past, not to the roaring battles or stormy seas that usually fill the tales of the Viking Age, but to something far quieter, much slower, and deeply rooted in the rhythm of nature. We'll explore the calm, steady life of a Viking farmer, a life of tending soil, listening to the wind, storing grain for long winters, and whispering tales by the hearth. This is not the world of raiders and longships, but of morning dew on barley fields, of wooden barns, heavy with hay, of quiet stories passed down under starlit skies. So, take a deep breath with me. Let the worries of the day melt away. You're safe here. As we begin, I'd like to gently invite you to like this video. Maybe leave a comment if you enjoy these calming stories, and subscribe if you'd like to join us again on another quiet journey into the past. For now, let your body sink a little deeper into your bed or your couch. Feel the softness beneath you. Close your eyes if you haven't already. There's no rush, just my voice and a story as old as the soil beneath our feet. Let's begin. The Viking farmer's day began early, often before the sun had fully risen above the hills and fjords. There were no alarms, no glowing screens, just the quiet calling of nature. The lowing of cattle in the barn, the crowing of roosters, the soft whisper of wind over thatched roofs and wooden beams. A typical farmstead might consist of a longhouse, long and low, made of timber and earth, roofed with turf that sprouted with wildflowers in summer. Around it, smaller outbuildings formed a quiet constellation of barns, food stores, and animal pens. The smell of damp soil and smoke from last night's hearth fire lingered in the morning air. Inside the longhouse, warmth clung to the thick walls. A central hearth glowed with fading embers. Wooden beds lined with wool and fur gave rest to the farmer and his family. Children might still be sleeping as the adults stirred, quietly putting on thick woven tunics and woolen cloaks. Outside, the fields awaited. Barley and rye, oats and flax all swayed gently in the breeze. The soil was worked by hand or with wooden plows pulled by oxen. There was a rhythm to it, a simplicity, and an understanding that everything depended on the weather, the sky, the sun, the slow melt of snow. Farming tools were simple but sturdy. Iron-tipped plows, wooden rakes and scythes, sacks made from animal hides. There was always work, tilling, sowing, weeding, but it was done without hurry, with the patience of those who've learned to follow the seasons. Some mornings brought rain, light and misty or heavy and relentless. But even that was welcome. Rain meant green growth and water for the livestock. The animals, too, were part of this rhythm. Cows and goats for milk, sheep for wool, chickens for eggs. Horses, lean and small, were used for transport and farm work. Each creature had a role, and each was respected. Meals were simple and often shared in quiet. Porridge made from oats or barley, sometimes mixed with dried fruits or honey. Bread baked on flat stones. A bit of salted fish or smoked meat, especially after the hunting season. Milk or ale to drink, cool and earthy. In summer, wild berries were gathered from forest edges. In fall, mushrooms. Nothing was wasted, and little was hurried. In the next moments, we'll walk further into the Viking seasons. How they prepared for winter, stored food, and shared tales during long dark nights. But for now, let's just sit by the fence, feel the breeze, and listen to the quiet world of the Viking farm. As the days shortened and the air turned sharp with the early whispers of autumn. Viking farmers knew it was time to begin preparing for winter. The pace of life quickened just slightly. As grain was harvested and stored, root vegetables dug from the soil and laid out to dry. Cabbage, leeks, and turnips were lifted with care, their leaves brushed free of earth, and packed away in deep pits or cool corners of the longhouse. Grain was ground slowly, steadily, with round stone querns, large, heavy, and passed down. Through generations, children might take turns, their small hands learning the weight of labor that would one day be theirs. Salted meat was hung from the rafters. Fish, caught in summer, was dried on racks or smoked over low fires. Milk was turned to cheese, and ale was brewed in large wooden vats, bubbling softly in the dim corners of the barn. Wool was spun into yarn beside the fire, dyed with plants and berries, then woven into warm cloaks and blankets. Nothing was idle. Everything served a purpose. Winter came not suddenly, but with quiet certainty. Days became shorter. Ice formed along the edges of the creek. The animals were brought in closer to the home. The warmth of their breath a quiet comfort against the coming snow. Inside, the hearth was the heart of the home. Around it, stories were told. Simple tales of gods and giants, of hidden folk who lived in the hills, of old warriors and ancient trees. Some tales explained the stars, others warned of winter spirits. Children listened wide-eyed beneath fur-lined blankets, the flicker of firelight dancing in their sleepy eyes. As winter settled. In Fully, life slowed to a dreamlike pace. Snow blanketed the land. The world outside became still and quiet, but inside, warmth and community held the cold at bay. Yule, the midwinter celebration, was a time of light in darkness. Candles were lit. Evergreen branches were brought inside to decorate the home. Meals were shared, larger and richer, saved. For this time of year, beer flowed freely, and the house echoed with laughter and song. Old stories told of the wild hunt, ghostly riders sweeping across the frozen sky. Of Nis, the farm spirits, small and bearded, who protected the household. If treated well, a bowl of porridge was often left out for them on winter nights. Woolworking continued, and repairs were made to tools and clothes. Children carved small toys from wood, and adults whittled quietly by the fire. Days were spent indoors, talking, resting, and watching the wind dance with snowflakes. When the cold became sharpest. Families huddled closer, their lives wrapped in stories and shared silence. They waited and hoped always for spring. Spring came slowly. First, a change in the wind, then the drip of melting snow, then green shoots appearing where frost once lay. The people stirred with the land. Seeds were sorted, soil turned again, hands once stiff with cold stretched into new work. Lambs were born in the straw, their bleats soft and curious. Streams flowed freely. Birds returned to the hedges. Every scent was sharper. Earth grass, pine. The silence of winter gave way to birdsong, to laughter, to the clink of tools and warming hands. And yet, Even in this new season, the rhythm remained slow, gentle, centered. Asterisk, the Viking farmer was not in a hurry, not even in spring. Asterisk, they knew the soil by its scent, the skies by their color, the land by its silence and its sound. Asterisk, so tonight, as you drift toward sleep, perhaps you carry with you a bit of that peace of slow mornings, woolen cloaks, flickering hearthlight, and voices telling old tales beside glowing embers. Asterisk, rest now, with the memory of barley fields swaying under northern skies, of soft snow on wooden beams, of warmths shared in stillness. Good night.